Welcome to the Chef's Kitchen. I'm your host, Nicole Gaffney, and we're here today with Chef Michael Heaps of Harry's Hospitality Group. Hey, Michael.
Hi, how are you?
Great, how are you today? Thanks for having
Fantastic.
me in your kitchen.
Absolutely.
What are we making?
So we're going to do a pan-seared Alaskan halibut,
Nice.
Paired with some beet gnocchi, sautéed Swiss chard, and we're going to finish that with a Beurre Noisette pan sauce.
Beautiful. Let's
Yeah.
get started.
Fantastic. So first we're going to make these lovely purple beet gnocchis.
They're so pretty.
We're going to start out with flour and potatoes. These are mashed potatoes.
Now,
This is a great way to utilize leftover mashed
That's
potatoes.
what I was just going to ask. So
Yeah.
these are like, you had them left over from service last night.
Absolutely.
Great way to
Yep. And then
use
we're
them up.
going to turn them into a fresh pasta.
And this is just regular all-purpose flour?
It is.
Okay.
Yep, regular all-purpose flour. So we have our flour and our potatoes in there. And now we just need a couple eggs.
Look at that, one-handed, such a pro.
We'll do a little bit of salt.
Okay.
And then we're going to mix this up. Using a dough hook.
Is that important to use the dough hook instead of, say, a paddle?
Yeah, if you use the paddle, it's going to get all gooey and you're not going to be able to get it out of there.
Okay.
So we'll use a dough hook in here, and we'll let it start going. And then once we start seeing it start to form a little bit of that mixture and that dough, we're going to take our beet puree.
So this is just roasted or boiled beets that you've pureed down?
Yeah, so essentially I took beets and I steamed them until they were cooked through, and then
Okay.
I pureed them in a blender.
Nice.
So we're going to put that beet puree in there. This is going to give it flavor and color.
Awesome. Can't beat that color from beets.
Absolutely not. So we're going to let this continue mixing, but I've already prepared the dough ahead of time. And this is what it looks like.
It's so pretty.
It is. So in order to roll that gnocchi out, what I'm first going to do is throw some flour down on my board.
Okay.
And then I'm going to take a small portion of this gnocchi,
All right.
put that on that board, and then we're simply just going to roll it out.
All right, great. Now, what gave you the inspiration for this dish? How'd you come up with it?
You know, I just really enjoy making pasta.
Yeah.
We make a lot of pasta here from scratch. We have linguine on the menu. We do tagliatelle sometimes. And then currently, we also have gnocchi. And then I've got this idea of doing seasonal gnocchi. So we had sweet potato gnocchi on before. It was a very big
yum.
hit. And then now we have this beet gnocchi as well.
It's beautiful.
It is. So we're just going to roll it out into a nice thin piece, and then we're going to cut it.
Great.
And I like to cut it at a bias.
I like that.
It's a nice little bite-sized
Yeah.
pieces. And then sprinkle a little bit more flour so it doesn't stick together. And then we'll set this aside.
That's great. Do you make this fresh to order every day?
Okay, so we make it in large batches,
Yeah.
which will get us through
It's
a couple
a lot
of
of
days.
work, yeah.
It is a lot of work, but it makes all the difference in the end.
Oh, totally.
In both flavor, texture, and everything else.
Nothing
So-
beats freshly made pasta.
Cut a little bit more. Toss it in flour. And then after we do that, we're ready to cook it.
Okay.
The first cook.
All right. You made that look so easy.
It takes a lot of practice.
Yeah, I bet.
So we're going to take this. We have boiling salted water.
All right.
And then we're just going to lay them in there.
Great. And how long do these take to cook? Are they pretty quick?
They only take, but the key is when they float, they're done.
That's it.
Okay.
We'll return with more from the Chef's Kitchen. We now return to the Chef's Kitchen.
So you can see them in there. We're just going to agitate them a little bit.
Okay.
Make sure they're not sticking to the bottom.
All right, so let's talk about the seafood while we let these cook for a little bit. So we're making Alaskan halibut today, but you guys offer so many different types of fish on your menu. Tell me about your fish program.
We typically keep 4 different types of fin fish on our menu. We rotate them seasonally depending on what's available. We try to use local, but we also like to bring in from different parts of the world as well.
Sure.
We have halibut from Alaska. We've got tuna that we can get from Hawaii.
Nice.
And a whole range of other fish. We also have scallops on our menu, pretty much a staple all year round.
And they must be local, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, of course.
And so we offer a wide range of seafood and different styles of preparation. You know, we're always pairing the seafood with fresh local ingredients.
Right.
When we can get them, and we keep everything that goes with it fresh.
Awesome. And you guys bring in lobster straight from Maine, is that correct?
We do bring in lobsters
That's
from Maine,
awesome.
absolutely. And we have them on our menu all year round, so you can come in and get them. We do pan-seared lobsters. In the summertime, we have a special where we run 1.5-pound live Maine lobsters that we cook up.
Yum. I love lobster. It's one of my favorite types of seafood.
It's great,
Yeah.
isn't it? So now you can see they're floating,
Gorgeous.
which is you know, the indication that it's done. So we're just going to take these and shock them, and then
Okay.
set them aside for later.
So they'll just be ready to go when we
They're
need
ready
them.
to go.
Perfect.
The
And
only
that's just
thing-
ice water right
That's
there?
just ice water, just to stop the cooking process.
Perfect.
So now it's time to cook the fish.
Okay. And you have this flown in from Alaska, fresh, right? You never use frozen seafood. It's always fresh?
We always use fresh seafood.
That's
absolutely.
incredible. And you can tell just by looking at this fish how fresh it is.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's the nice large fillets. So oftentimes with the farm drays, and depending on where you're getting it from,
Right.
you get very thin fillets, but these are nice thick portions.
They're absolutely beautiful. There's some oil for you.
Thank you. So we're going to season our halibut.
Okay.
We'll do a salt and a blend of salt and white pepper.
Perfect. Just keep it really simple.
Make sure we get both sides.
Very important. Want both sides to taste good.
Absolutely. So we have a very hot cast iron pan here that we're going to be using. We're going to use a oil with a high smoke point.
All right. So you're going to really sear this nice and hot.
Absolutely. You can see it's already starting to smoke, which means we definitely have a hot pan.
That's beautiful halibut. I want to stand back. So you're looking to sear the outside of this fish almost as if it were steak.
Absolutely. We want to get a nice golden brown on the outside of that. And it's going to make it look good and taste delicious.
Awesome.
So let that go for a couple seconds. We're then going to, once we get that solid sear on there, we're going to flip it over and then put it in our oven so
Okay.
we can finish cooking in there.
And halibut you want to be cooked totally through, right?
Yeah,
You
pretty
don't
much
ask for temperature
through.
on that.
Absolutely. It's going to make for a flakier fish,
Nice.
and it's just going to taste better.
Do you serve Atlantic halibut ever?
Sometimes, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
When it's in season, I'm sure. And I'm sure you get the wild Alaskan salmon in when that's in season.
Yeah.
So popular.
Especially, I spent several years in the Pacific Northwest, and I became a huge fan of, Alaskan halibut,
Yes.
salmon. I mean,
All of the seafood up there is
Absolutely.
really good. You worked in Seattle, correct?
yeah. I worked in Seattle, so I got to work with, things such as the Copper River
Sure.
salmon,
Salmon.
king salmon, sockeyes, and all different types of seafood from the Pacific Northwest.
Very nice. So this happens pretty quick, right?
What's
And you
that?
can the fish. You can already see that the color's starting to creep up around the edges.
Yep. And we just want to make sure that, it's got a nice solid sear on there before we try to flip it. If we try to flip it too soon, it's just going to stick to the pan.
Yeah, so that was a question that I had. It's tough to cook fish at home and sear it in a pan like this without it sticking. So what is the secret? You just have to give it enough time?
You got to make sure that you have a very hot pan.
Okay.
If your pan's not hot enough, it's just going to stick.
So hot pan, and you're using a cast iron pan. Is that important?
It helps.
Yeah.
It definitely helps. If I was at home, if I was a home cook, I would probably use like a non-stick pan.
So that gives you just a little bit of insurance.
Absolutely.
That makes sense.
But here, I would absolutely love using cast iron. It works very well.
Now, will a nonstick pan give you that same sear that you can get from a cast iron?
Maybe not quite the same.
Yeah.
But cooking at home, I probably prefer maybe not getting quite the same sear, but at least it's not going to stick to the pan.
Yeah, but it's going to be a guarantee that your fish actually comes out of the pan.
Right. So we're going to flip this now.
All right. Very nice.
Get that beautiful sear on the outside.
Great. I think if you're intimidated to cook fish at home, it's all the more reason to come out to Harry's and have you
Absolutely.
cook it for them.
We'll make sure that it's perfect.
Now, do you have to put this in the oven, or can you finish that on the stove if you wanted to?
You do not have to finish it in the oven. It all depends on how thick the fillet is.
All right.
But for our sake, I don't want to sit here and babysit it.
Yeah.
I've got some other things I want to do.
We've got things to do.
Yes.
We'll return with more from the Chef's Kitchen. We now return to the Chef's Kitchen.
Next, we're gonna start getting ready to saute our gnocchis.
Great.
So with that, we have our gnocchis here that we've blanched. We're gonna put in some Swiss chard with that. This is rainbow Swiss chard. So
It's
you've got
so pretty.
these beautiful colors. It's nice, crisp.
It's so fresh too. You can really tell by looking at these leaves. They're not wilted.
Absolutely.
They're nice
So
and bright and crisp.
we're just gonna do kind of a rough chop on this.
Okay.
Because it's gonna, once it goes in the pan, it will wilt down.
And do you cook the stalks as well as the greens?
Yeah, you can absolutely cook the stalks. That's fine. It's just once it starts getting bigger, if you are going to cook that or add that in, you just want to make sure that it's small enough so it doesn't.
It still cooks in the same amount
Right.
of time. Yeah, they can be very tough. Do you utilize these stems if you're not going to cook them in this preparation? Do you use these for anything else?
No, if I wasn't going to use them, I can't think of anything that I would. Maybe a garnish. You can,
Right.
kind of shave them.
Yeah,
thin.
they're so pretty. It's a shame to just, put them
Well,
in the
maybe
trash.
we'll do something. with
All
them.
right, we'll figure something out.
So now we got that. Now we're going to move on to sauteing our gnocchi.
Great.
So in this, we're going to use a little bit of butter and
Perfect.
a little bit of olive oil.
Now, why are you using two different types of fat here?
Flavor. I
Great
mean,
answer.
I like to mix those two. I think they just kind of play off of each other, and you get a nice, well-rounded flavor.
Great.
So we got a hot pan. We're going to throw our gnocchis in there.
And are
And we
you
want to
looking?
get some color on
Yeah,
this,
that was
too.
going to be my question. You want to crisp them up a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. And as they cook, they're going to get kind of lighter and fluffier. And then we'll get some of that nice color on the outside, which just adds to the flavor.
Great. They kind of darken up a little bit too as they cook in
They
the butter.
do, yeah, and you'll see them. If one of the things that I've learned with the beet gnocchi, especially, is if you overcook that, you'll lose the color.
Ah,
So it
yeah,
has
it'll
to
just
be-
leach out in the water.
Exactly. So you have to kind of keep an eye on them.
And the color's just such a cool part of this dish,
Absolutely. So with that, we're going to add a little bit of shallot. And some red pepper.
This would be great to serve on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, it would.
Now, if you weren't serving these with the halibut, would you serve them any other way? Like, would you serve those as an entree?
You could easily serve these as an
Yeah?
entree. This would be a great vegetarian entree.
Definitely.
It's got some healthy vegetables in there, and I would absolutely eat that.
As would I.
So now that we got them cooking, get a little bit color to the outside, we're going to go ahead and add our Swiss chard.
So this cooks up really quick.
It does cook up fast, which is why I wanted to put the halibut in the oven.
Right. So this is great. I mean, if you have those gnocchi already finished, this comes together really quickly,
Very quickly.
which is
And we don't want to cook down our Swiss chard too much. We just kind of want to wilt it.
okay.
As
Still has some
opposed
texture
To,
and-
exactly.
Some color to it.
Pardon me.
Sorry. Are you done
We're
with
going to
this?
season. Yes.
Okay.
We're going to season this with a little bit of salt and white pepper.
And that was unsalted butter that you started with?
It was
Do
unsalted.
you always cook with unsalted butter?
Pretty much,
Yeah.
yeah. And we're good to go. So I'm just going to set this off to the side right now. Then we're going to do one last thing. This will be our pan sauce.
This is the Beurre Noisette
Beurre
that you
Noisette,
mentioned.
so brown butter. Thank you so much.
Love me some browned butter.
Yep. So we're just going to put some whole butter in there. This is unsalted.
All right.
We're going to move it around.
Oh, that
You can
happens
see it already
quickly.
starting.
Yeah.
So you don't want to let it set. If you let it set, then it's going to turn from brown butter to black
Sure.
butter. So we want to keep it moving. And then, could you hand me a lemon wedge, please?
Yes.
Once you get it right to about where you got that
smells
beautiful
so
brown,
good.
we're gonna go ahead and squeeze some fresh lemon juice in there.
Awesome. The smell of browned butter has to be one of my favorite smells on the planet.
So good.
Oh, I just want to bathe in it.
We'll return with more from the Chef's Kitchen. We now return to the Chef's Kitchen.
It's perfect timing.
Nice. How do you know when the fish is done?
Lots of practice.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take our sauteed gnocchis with the Swiss chard, and we're just gonna lay that right on the plate.
I love all the color in there. It just looks so healthy, which you don't usually think about when you look at pasta.
No, but all in all, this is, like I said, pretty healthy dish with the veggies. All right.
Great.
And we're gonna put our fish on top of that.
And that didn't stick at all when you pulled that out.
Not at all.
Perfect.
Then finally, we're gonna finish with our brown butter.
Perfect. Don't be shy with that either. I like extra butter on mine. Very nice.
And then since you know, you wanted to use something for the stalks,
Yeah.
I guess you could probably cut them very thin, add some texture.
There you go. Carry that color over.
Let's get some of that green in there. Make almost like a little salad.
There you go. I love it. It's like a little Swiss chard confetti.
There you go. Get a little dressing on there.
You want a little lemon or
Yeah, I could do a little lemon.
Olive oil?
We'll do a little olive oil, a little salt and pepper.
there you go. There's a little pepper. I don't know what happened to the salt.
That's fine, right here.
Oh, there it is.
We could do that right
Lovely.
on top. Just
Oh,
for a
it's
little
great.
extra color if you'd like.
Perfect. All right, well, to go along with this beautiful piece of halibut, we have some dessert and a couple different wines to try. And to tell us a little bit about it is General Manager Kelly O'Hanlon.
Hey,
Kelly.
how are you?
Thanks for having me back.
Good. So we'll start off with the halibut, and for that I chose a Sancerre that we poured by the glass here
Very
at
nice.
Harry's Savoy Grill. And Sancerre is a appellation of the Loire Valley, which is in southeastern France, and it's just really known for its bright acidity, herbal notes. So let's open it and see what it tastes like.
I love Sancerre, and I think it's going to pair really nicely with the halibut.
Yes, and this is 100% Sauvignon Blanc, which should pair great with this fish. So.
Wonderful. So while you open that, tell me a little bit about the wine program that you have here at Harry's.
Sure, our wine program is pretty interesting. We offer about 20 to 25 wines by the glass.
That's a lot.
And you can get the glasses in a couple different sizes. We offer half glasses, which are 3-ounce pours. Our full glass is a 6-ounce pour, and then we serve Cortinos, which is an 8-ounce pour.
I love that. So you can
Yes.
have just a little bit or a lot if you want.
Absolutely. So let's taste this and see how it tastes.
And you have a dessert wine that you're going to be serving as well with
Yes.
this beautiful dessert that you have. I'll pass
Thank you.
that
That
to
is
you,
also
Chef.
from France.
Well, cheers.
Cheers.
It smells great.
Yes, it does.
The herbal notes, citrus, great acidity.
That's really nice wine. And I think it's going to pair really well with the fish, too.
So let's
Okay.
dig in and try.
Yes, absolutely. You take a fork.
Thank you.
Good chef
Thank you.
as well. Well, I'm going to go for it. Wow, the crust on that fish is so thick. It's hard to even cut through it without a knife.
Good? These gnocchis
I love
look
that crispy
fantastic.
crust on the outside and the pop of lemon and the Beurre Noisette. Wonderful. And the Swiss chard makes it really just taste so healthy. That's great.
Well, let's move on to the sweet
Yes,
stuff.
as much as I love a nice seafood dinner, I'm really a dessert girl. So tell us a little bit about what we have here, Chef.
So this is a classic cheesecake, but we do a creme brulee over the top. So we put some sugar down and torch it. We have a blackberry puree, some fresh blackberries, and some caramelized apples with hazelnut crisp on top.
It's like you took my 2 favorite desserts and you mashed them into one. And you're going to pair this with a dessert wine as well, right,
Yes,
Kelly?
absolutely. And this is also a product from France, and it has a touch of Sauvignon Blanc in it, mostly Semillon. It is a Sauterne, which is a pretty well-known dessert wine.
Well, cheers.
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 Getting really spoiled today. Wow.
That is so
what
good.
a unique flavor that has.
The well-roundedness, sweet, should go really well with
Very
the
well
richness of
balanced,
that.
yeah.
Thank you.
All right, well, don't mind if I do, guys. Don't be shy. Look at that. The mark
Oh,
of
yeah,
a
this looks
great
great.
creme brulee is that crackly top. That is a wonderful
raspberry.
dessert. I mean, I'm speechless.
just
I don't
looks
even
so
know what to
luscious.
say. Come for the great seafood and steak, stay for the equally as good dessert and the wine. Thank you guys so much for having me
well,
here at
thanks for
Harry's.
Thanks for
It's
being
so
here.
much fun.
Yes,
This is really a pleasure.
Absolutely, thank you.
Oh, it was a great experience. I had a lot of fun. I've never really done anything quite like this before. It was a lot of fun.